All right, welcome to our usually scheduled, or I guess it's a little bit later than usual. It's still in the same hour though, Monday stream. I was yesterday catching up with a person that has upset me a number of times because she does this thing that gets on my nerves where she vanishes for several weeks or months, or and then tries to come back and pretend that you shouldn't be annoyed by the fact that this person who's so busy can't just write you a message back, every couple of weeks, maybe once a month. Just really it appeared not even trying at all, right? And what was really funny is that she sent me a message about maybe 5 or 10 minutes ago saying that she was ready to speak, like available. And at first I was like, oh man, this is great. And then I thought about it, I was like, how does this usually turn out with chicks? Like not even romantic stuff, just in platonic manners. How does it usually go? You talk to this person a couple of times at the start of your interactions with them, and then it gradually becomes less and less. And then even when it appears that there's like a resurgence, like, hey, this person is trying to talk to me more, it still goes nowhere. And usually if it ends, it's because they decided to stop responding to you abruptly. So I'm just tired of having my chain yanked, by these different people online, especially these different chicks online. Um, there's another one I could mention from last night, but I don't know how confident of that I am. I just this weekend was okay, but it was also pretty taxing on me because of just thinking about that insane stuff a certain person said a few days ago and how nuts I thought it was. So also, if you can hear that in the background, I apologize. For some reason, that person can never close their door. I guess closing the door is like a superpower now. So I really am sorry that you have to put up with that. But like I said, it seems like every time I do a stream, no matter what day it is, like I can never just not have noise. So it's just another curse of being someone on here. But I was even thinking about it and I said, isn't it sad that I feel so disillusioned as far as like even finding a purpose to talking to her, that I would rather sit on a stream where sometimes I don't even have anyone watching me than go and have a call with her. I just think something about that is really telling, just how far gone my beliefs and confidence on just speaking to that the person has become. Because it's the same old stuff, man. You go and talk to this person, and they laugh and pretend to be interested in you, and then after the call's over, you might hear back from them maybe once every 3 weeks or even less than that. It's just, just you get sick of it. Because she's another one of those people that does the depression thing where they talk about how they're so sad and this causes them to not respond. And I was explaining this to one person, if I did this to other people, they would get mad at me. What would I look like if someone in real life depresses me and I don't put up a video for a month? It's like, why did you take out your frustration in real life on your subscribers by not, you doing your usual routine of putting stuff up consistently? Or if I was talking to someone, then all of a sudden I abruptly stop because I feel depressed and I'm isolating myself. It's like, yeah, no one would ever coddle me and say that that's a good thing. So I said, chicks are able to just act any kind of screwed up way, and someone is always able to spin it in their favor every time. So one of my main policies is that no matter how depressed I get over, whatever, I don't try to take it out on those that weren't involved with causing that to be, the feeling that I'm in. But a lot of these chicks just seem to really get off on just, they always have some some kind of excuse and reason to be all sad and, gloomy. And which whatever, life sucks, but don't try to make me sympathetic toward a person that is treating me poorly. That's always the problem I have with sympathizing with chicks. Like some of the things they'll say to you and some of the ways they act toward you, you're like, this is really the person that I'm supposed to feel bad for when something bad happens to them. I'm supposed to empathize with, I'm supposed to be sympathetic to. We were talking about this woman that sat here for about an hour, maybe 2 weeks ago, and was trying to debate me over the romance stuff. And it's like in this call, she has the nerve to tell me about how she thinks every man that approaches her just wants intercourse, which apparently she wants back because she had a boyfriend up until a few days ago or like a week ago. Um, you already see like the cracks in her logic. Because if it was so bad to her that men want that, she wouldn't be dating any of them. But anyways, um, so she's the same person who'll say something like that with the intent of trying to get you to understand her and feel bad that she has this anxiety about dating, but then it's the same individual who tells you to get over it when you mention how your experiences, right, have affected the way you view the prospects of romantic relationships, right? So you're supposed to feel sorry for her because of what she told you about her past, but then when you tell her about your past, it's kick rocks. How fair is that? It isn't. No, I have no intention. The only way I could probably be willed into sending her a message is if I just have no one come to the stream, like at all for like a whole hour and a half, and then maybe I'll be like, hey, so you still want to speak? Are you still available? Sorry, I was offline. There's something really crazy about this to me, just how far gone I believe that, like just talking to people on here has become because I've had plenty of times where someone that I speak to was available at, like some hour that I wasn't expecting, and I just don't do something because I'm trying to talk to them. So so the fact that I would take doing a stream, which I can do at any point of the day, but usually at this time, over speaking to her is like the ultimate example that I'm just done. Just fed up with it. Yeah, me and my brother were having some conversations this weekend about because I told him about the Batman '89 comic written by Sam Hamm, and that was supposed to be a continuation of the Burton films. And I was um I was just telling him that it's kind of funny to think about how when you watch Returns, you have three different endings, like three different continuations. You can watch Forever, which is the technical sequel, even though it's got a different person. Just we've been over the reasons why people think it's an alternate universe. Um, like even just besides the actor recasting for Bruce and for Harvey, and then you also have this comic Batman '89, and then you also have the Flash because we don't know if the Flash is going to acknowledge the events of the comic, or if it doesn't acknowledge them, then not contradict them. Which I really hope it does acknowledge them because I don't like the idea that we have like this multiverse of continuation. Really hope that we just get one new continuity for that universe. And then people are saying that the Batgirl film that's gonna be on HBO Max is supposedly gonna be based off of or partially inspired by Batman Beyond. I was like, isn't it sad that you guys can't just make a final solo Burton movie with Keaton, right? Where he's like older and this is like his last run. It's against some villain, that is the ultimate antagonist. Um, and then just do with however many movies you want with him as the older Bruce to somebody playing Terry. Like I don't get why we can't just have that. I feel like that's an idea that a lot of people would get behind because we've never seen Beyond in live action. One of the reasons I really liked the cartoon was because of how fresh it was. You have this familiar setting, yes, but it's futuristic, it's upgraded. You have these new villains, and when old ones come back, it's usually to service some plot from before, and it's always done in an interesting way. Um, I really hope that they decide to eventually do that. but I'm not gonna hold my breath because what I always have to remind myself, when do these companies ever do anything I like? No, Beyond would work really well in like in contemporary, especially with the MCU being as big as it is, because Terry McGinnis is a lot more Spider-Man like than Bruce is. He would be a very different character, is what I'm saying. And I think that having this like young guy that makes jokes with this old man that's kind of like stoic and serious could be a nice little comedic duo if they ever decided to do it. There's just so much you can get out of doing a film like that. It's not even funny. Yeah, it's just really sad that people are like this. I guess that Warner Brothers is like this. It's like, let's do another reboot. It's kind of funny because you could make the argument that the Nolan verse is more adaptable for Beyond than for the Burton verse, because we saw, what was that, like six different villains in the Nolan films, who for the most part were said to have lived, or at least or were still around by the end of the trilogy. Actually, no, I take that back. The only ones that survive are Scarecrow and Joker. So even then, they like that's the problem with superhero films. They always just, it's like, oh, you like this antagonist? Let's get rid of him after one movie. That was one of the reasons I really liked Scarecrow, because he averted that. Like, just seeing him in Dark Knight back all the way, all those years back then, even if it was only for like a brief scene at the start of the movie, was just so refreshing, because it really did feel like every single superhero movie gets rid of the villain after one film. Like all the franchises. So even something as tiny as that, felt nice. Yeah, I was really disappointed that there's another issue where like that comic. So it was announced, or it started coming out rather in I think August of last year. And with comics, they're supposed to have one issue a month usually. Some are bi-monthly, or not bi-monthly, bi-weekly, so they come out every 2 weeks. But 89 was set to come out every month, and then all of a sudden there was some kind of delay where we didn't get issue 5 for like 4 months. Like the last one was in December, then the next one was in April. It was really weird. I'm only annoyed by it because I was really enjoying the story, and I didn't like that I had to wait so damn long, like a third of a year for an issue of a comic. It would actually take them less time to film a short movie, like a 20-minute movie. Like that would be shorter to film than waiting for that stupid comic. No, the other one I want to read is Superman 78, because I heard he fights Brainiac in that. The only thing I have an issue with is the it doesn't acknowledge 3 and 4, which I think is kind of weird, because they're whatever. It's just, I don't know. I don't like that selective continuity thing, because I feel like you could do something set after 4 with Brainiac and it wouldn't contradict anything, because there's no mentions of him in any of those 4 movies. So I definitely want to get around to reading that. So many comics. Yeah, I'm not interested in talking to her at all. She can sit there on Discord by herself. But how's it said, by her lonesome? No, I've just always had that issue with these different film series. Like if you look at like the 78 Superman series, there was never, like, 4 clearly wasn't meant to be the ending. And 5 only didn't happen because of the big box office bomb that 4 was. I guess what I'm getting at is if I feel like there should be a continuation of something, it's always because the ending was not intended to be the last part. Like the movie has an ending where it concludes most of its themes or whatever, but as an actual ending to a series, it really seems like you almost never get it. So also, because of what my friend said, now every time I watch a movie and I see opening credits, I just write it down. Like, oh, here's another one on the list. I was watching, I think it was Jackie Brown like 2 days ago. It's got Samuel L. Jackson and Michael Keaton, and it starts with the female protagonist, like walking in a straight line with this blue background that has all the different actors' names, in the front. I just can't believe he really convinced himself that opening credits are this rare thing that no one has ever seen before. Like, are you serious? I don't think they do it as much in modern movies, like ones that come out in like the last 10 years or so, but I can name a whole bunch of films that have the credits at the start with the actors' names. It's only Star Wars that does that. No, it's not. Nice try. Like I said, I got irritated because I just thought he was saying some really insane stuff. And like I said, a lot of people who I don't even like are more they make more sense on this topic than he does. That's what disturbed me. Like I don't, I'm supposed to be proverbially on your side, and you said this crazy stuff that I can't get behind no matter how I try to, quantify it. I think that's really sad. Like just the idea that you want to not criticize someone, but they take a position that you think is so insane and just that makes no sense to you that you can't not say anything about it. And again, I've said before, I believe that I am very tolerant when it comes to things that people are into or that they like. Um, this is why, I don't drink, but I know a lot of people that drink. I don't gamble, but I know people that gamble. I always just I don't say anything because it doesn't affect me. And I always say that it's up to them to decide to, act in this way. But it was so disturbing to me that you have like grown adults who think that this stuff is normal. Like that's if that was a little kid saying that, I would say okay, whatever. He's just being an edge lord. But a grown adult is like, let me bask in my ignorance. It's weird. So I really hope that I don't have to listen to no crap like that again. It was just such a bizarre position because people I know like a whole bunch of people, they don't know who some actor is, but it's not on purpose. Like when I was talking about Scarecrow, I was forgetting Cillian Murphy's name, like, because I just didn't remember it at that particular moment. Um, which is kind of sad to me because he's in a lot of stuff like Inception. So that's not me trying to not know who he is or remember who he is. It's just, it happens. There's so many actors you forget certain ones, or you might not remember different people. It's just a thing that occurs. But again, I've never seen anyone else that would purposely confess to wanting to like not know who people are that are in stuff they like. Like to on purpose just be like, I don't know who this is, I don't know who that is. I'm so happy that I'm ignorant. It was just weird. And I just thought to myself, I said, out of all the people in this world, all the people I've gone to school with, why does the one person that like I speak to from that era, like that bygone era of going to these institutions have to say something as insane as that? Like out of all the people, on all the opinions he could have on anything, why did it have to be this on that one? Like I was so tolerant of all kind of stuff that I don't agree with, that I don't understand. But that was just the one that really broke the camel's back for me as far as, like, let me bite my tongue and not say anything. I was like, "No, I just I can't sit here and act like that doesn't, you know, drive me crazy." Like, it's just I think it's nuts. Mm. And I've tried to just, give my interpretations of why that would bother me in such a way. I think what it is that I believe, because I said before, I think it's important to give people credit when they do things you like. So I just, again, in trying to be consistent, think that were I to be in a movie as like the lead actor or write one that makes $1 billion or direct something that makes that much, just whatever type of scenario that comes along with doing these things, I would like to, be acknowledged for, you know, making something that he apparently likes. So that's the, my main thing. I was on I think it was Instagram a couple of weeks ago, and somebody dug up an interview with Garfield where he was talking about how he would like to explore the bisexuality of his incarnation of Spider-Man, like have that as a potential thing to explore. And I was just thinking to myself, isn't it sad that you're doing a film series about this character who's got all these memorable supporting cast members and different villains and storylines, and the one thing you want to do above anything, the one thing you specifically mentioned wanting to do besides bringing in Miles Morales is having a bisexual lead character. Like, what does that do to further anything? Like I said, man, like a lot of people tried to crap on Maguire, but he's the only one out of the three Spider-Man, like live action actors that doesn't say weird stuff like that. Like get caught up in trying to be woke and have these desires to implement things that just they don't matter. Like, you know, when I watch any of these films, I'm not sitting back going, I wonder when if this character is gay. It's like why? Like what is why does that bother why is that something that you even factor in, Just whatever. Especially for a historically straight character. That's what I think is even crazier. Like I remember the lady that was writing I don't know if who it was, the like head writer of Loki was like, I'm very glad I included the fact that Loki was bisexual. I'm like, why? If you actually watch the MCU, he doesn't even show romantic interest in damn near anybody. Why does this bother you to even include this? Tom McGuire has to be the most accurate Spider-Man. Right, but I was also saying that out of the three of them, he's also the only one that doesn't do these interviews where he's like making these weird like desires to portray the character as half straight or just like I've seen Garfield and Holland both say it's just stuff like that, that I don't get why it would even be a thing they're interested in. But yeah, his version of the character is definitely the most, like, the Raimi series is still my favorite one, and it's the only one I would actually rewatch repeatedly because that version of the character is more relatable than the two successors that he has. See, one of the things I hated about the comics was the revelation that his parents were spies, because I thought that hurt the everyman nature of the character. And I was glad the Raimi films don't have that. But then with the TASM ones, they're like, oh, let's do something different. Let's have this big, huge focus on who his parents are. It's like, well, I mean, that kind of makes him less of a relatable character to me, and then you throw in the fact that they got rid of Jameson, right? They didn't have him in that series, so he's just magically always is able to do stuff. Like they never have any, if I remember correctly, any scenes of him just complaining about not being able to afford things. So yeah, that version of characters, I've never understood the appeal of him. Like I think Garfield did a decent job with what he was given, but if I didn't see him again after No Way Home, I really wouldn't be losing any sleep. Even if, again, I said before, if they want to make Tasm 3, I don't have an issue with it. And then the Holland version's even worse. It's like you take, Vulture and Mysterio, these two classic, iconic Spider-Man villains, and then give them more to do with Iron Man than with Spider-Man, to where he's like fighting. villains of some other hero that's deceased. You make his aunt hot so that we can get a bunch of weird sexual humor with a character that's usually an old lady. Like I just that's why I said, man, it feels the most human. The other two feel like grown man fulfilling some weird power fantasy they have. I remember when Tasm first came out, people were like, "Oh my god, this is so much better because he makes jokes." And then he only makes one joke in the whole movie when he's like sneezing the webs on the robber. Like what, like that's your improved series one joke. That's so surreal to me just being around for both of these different like both of these interpretations and when they started and just like gradually seeing more and more people not like either of them. 'Cause I'm telling you, when TASM came out, I had an open mind. Same thing with Home or I guess with Civil War. Like I was very open to what they were gonna do with it. Because you gotta remember when Civil War comes out, we don't know anything about Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home. All we're introduced to a new version of character who we can assume if he gets his own movie, there's not going to be any Iron Man or like any type of other influences from the MCU. So I had an open mind with him as well, and it just kept going and going. I was like, this isn't for me. So I didn't try to come and purposely hate on either of those portrayals. I didn't really find them that captivating. Like the things they try to do different, I don't think are worth doing at all. Like, oh, let's not have Peter's best friend be Harry. Let's have it be Ned, and let's have him be given a race swap, and you know he has no character development at all. Every movie he just shows up and makes jokes. Yeah, totally a great substitute for Harry. Definitely, very very terrific. The fact these people care about Spider-Man's quips show how shallow their interest is in a character. Spider-Man's superhero, not a late night sitcom character. Yeah, they act like he's supposed to be some damn comedian. Like if he's trying to save Mary Jane from getting thrown off the bridge, why would he make a joke? Or save the city from Doc Ock blowing up everything? Why would he be making quips? So I said people don't even think. They like every time I hear that criticism, I just roll my eyes because I know remember we all like things for different reasons. When I was talking about doing Raimi Spider-Man 4, I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if you could put, Black Cat in there and give her like a character arc where she becomes a good guy over the course of the movie. A lot of people really only see superhero stuff just to see two men sit there and fight each other like it's wrestling, and it's just really interesting how like shallow their interest in the characters are. Like how superficial their desire to see stuff is. Like I remember I was telling you about that one stupid broad that said she was just there to see the killer do his thing in a horror movie, and I was like, if I have a horror series with a or rather a film with a likable protagonist, why the hell would I be rooting for the killer to get them? Like what sense does that make? Why would he be quipping while getting the crap beaten out of him by yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, people don't even think when they criticize stuff. They just look for any reason to have a problem with something, and they're like, "Yeah." I remember I saw this one video. This guy was like, "One of my problems with the original Raimi film is that Peter has known Harry since he was a child, but he's just now meeting Norman." I'm like, "Dude, people know each other from when they're in preschool and don't meet their parents." Like, I knew my best friend when I was in 2nd grade. I didn't meet his mother until I think I was in, like, 8th grade, you know? He didn't meet my dad until we were in, both adults in college. Like, it was really crazy, you know? Just the idea that that's like a criticism, like, who's been to school with someone for years and never met their parent. Like, yeah, his dad probably didn't pick him up. I don't know why that's so hard to accept. We all have various facets of our life that a lot of times don't correspond with each other. So it's really, sad that they look at something like that and they're like, this is what I would criticize this for. Like of all the things, really, as a Green Goblin wouldn't just punch him in the mouth. Well, you get what I'm saying, that a lot of people have like superficial reasons for liking this stuff. Because again, some of the best moments in the Raimi series are when he's out of costume and he's just talking to Harry or Mary Jane or Aunt May, and it's like a lot of people just want to see if we get a fourth film, just see him fight some villain. It's like, well, I kind of like a little bit more story than that. If I just want to see two grown men fight each other, I can go watch WWE, and even they make an attempt at a story. I'm telling you, man, people just it is interesting to see the different reasons why people like stuff. Like I was rewatching this one show from about 10 years ago recently, and I went on Reddit and like I swear to you, the Reddit for that show is the most toxic, nasty, like everyone in the Reddit's like, it's got four main characters. I hate this character. I'm like, you watch so you don't like this character who's one of the main characters that's literally one of only I think three characters in every episode, but then you watch the show. Like I just think it's weird to have one of to like actively hate one of the main protagonists of the series that you watch, but whatever. And there are people on there that also say they hate the other two as well. It's like, yeah, why do you guys watch this show then? That's why I like the moments where Spider-Man does make quips, because those are the moments when the joke lands and isn't thrown in here there to meet some quip quota. They just get on my nerves with that because, like, I saw a lot of people, Garfield is the best version of the character. Like, according to what? His series sucks so much they got rid of it after two movies. He made one joke. He had a love interest that was really good that they killed off for shock value, even though nobody is surprised when Gwen dies, because that's literally the only reason that character is even put in anything anymore, except for Spider-Man 3. Uh, and then Sony regretted that so much they were talking about having TASM 3 take place before the second one, so they could use Emma Stone again. And they also were talking about having her show up in another movie and become Carnage and then have no memory. That's something they would take from Ultimates, where she shows up again as like a clone, but has no memory of like what happened to her. Like they realized they got rid of one of the few great things about that series when they got rid of her. Oh man. I'm just here to see the killer do his thing. To hell with the story, to hell with the characters, to hell with the performances. And again, I get offended by this stuff because I'm a writer. Like I sat here with this film, and I took each of the four protagonists and I tried to give them character development, even though they already, have some built in, whatever, some flashbacks. And it's like, you're gonna tell me that you are going to ignore all of this for the sake of being happy that there's a murderer with no personality after them. And then he'll act surprised when the villain gets a leg up on him. It's like, dude, actually fight and stop trying to be the class clown. I'm sorry, but his jokes are terrible and he always makes quip at the worst times. Dude, I'm telling you, if you actually watch these damn movies, Gar like in I literally can't even remember the last time Holland's version of the character made a joke. Like when he was fighting Vulture, I don't remember him joking. Especially after he knew who Vulture was and like they found out each other's identities, toward that final fight. Um, I don't remember him making jokes with Mysterio. I remember him crying against Mysterio because that's another thing McGuire gets criticized. He cries too much. Like, oh, I'm sorry that you guys are heartless bastards that wouldn't cry if the man that raised you died in front of you, or if your best friend died sacrificing himself for you. I'm sorry that that wouldn't evoke that type of emotion in you. Or if your girlfriend that you pined for since childhood broke up with you out seemingly out of the blue. Like, yeah, that would actually cause me to probably react the same way. But so I said, people online just the stuff they criticize about things makes me not even take them seriously. Dude, I swear I don't remember one time he makes a joke like referring to Holland's version of character in any of these after Civil War, like at all. Like when he's fighting someone, I don't remember him making these. So I said, people just Holland is the best version of the character, yes, with his very non-comic accurate, setting and his weird racial swap of Mary Jane and his best friend that has no character development is just there to be the butt of all jokes. Yeah, so his aunt that only exists so people can make weird jokes about how hot Marissa Tomei is. Yeah, yeah, very, very, very great adaptation here. I'm pretty impressed. The only thing that I would say I really like about the MCU's version of the character are the villains because I really do like Michael Keaton as Vulture. And I also like I don't know if I like Mysterio that well, but I do like Jake Gyllenhaal. So whenever they get work, I'm fine with it. Well, that's what they said. What type of psychopath would come down on someone for crying over the loss of a loved one? You have people that say the Raimi version of the character cries too much. So I guess if your father figure gets murdered and you're by his side as he's dying, and then he passes in front of you, you're not supposed to cry. I guess if your best friend sacrifices himself to save you and then dies right in front of you, you're not supposed to cry. No, it's all based around trying to look for any reason to criticize the original film series so that you can prop up the latter two. Because, like I said, the other two versions of the character cry as well. Did you see how much Garfield was crying, or I guess Andrew, I should say, was crying, during the Gwen death scene? It was really look. I'm not even a fan of Tasman 2, but I think that was a good scene. He was giving good acting. It's like you're not going to see me criticize that film for him crying over someone that they want us to believe he loved passing away. That's why I said fans of this stuff are just they're such hypocrites, and they always find some way to kind of like crap on something that you like, even if something they like does the same thing, if not worse. Everybody said, "Oh my God, when Peter lost Aunt May in No Way Home, that was such great acting." I'm like, well, hell, you're the same guys that trash uh McGuire for the Uncle Ben death scene. So I don't know what you pricks want. I told you it's such a joke to actually hear people say that like to actually hear them criticize that version of the character for crying when people he loves or cares about dies or when his or when this romantic relationship that he's been trying to have with this chick for years dissolves over, something that's out of his control. They get on my nerves, man. These fans just they don't know what they want. Well, I can tell you what they want. They want to pretend that what they like is the best thing ever, and if you like the other things, then you're wrong. I still think it's funny when they're like, uh, you need to move on, accept that Raimi Spider-Man 4 isn't happening. I'm like, I did move on. I was, I remember it was 2010. I had an open mind about the reboot. And then, that came and went after two movies. Then with the MCU version, I had an open mind about that too. And then to my shock and chagrin, they brought back, Melina, Defoe, um, Jamie Foxx, like all these different people, right, to come back and play the villains again. It's like, so now I feel like anything is possible. I mean, if you can bring back actors that haven't played, these characters in years and like are from canceled series, I don't know why we can't see, one more movie from each universe, whatever. Just I don't get it. Like basically, if it can't happen now, then there was no point where it ever could have happened past when it got canceled initially. Because now is the most likely it's ever seemed since it got canceled of happening. Yeah, people go on my nerves. They always find a way to have a problem with something you want. Oh, there was another issue I had with Tasm where it was like, oh yeah, the villains aren't memorable. Like you have Lizard who just kind of is there and he wants to turn the whole city into lizards, which is so goofy and cartoonish. I think the only line he has I remember is the like poor Peter Parker, that line. And then you have Electro who's just a black version of Riddler from Batman Forever. And like he falls into a vat of eels and becomes evil, turns blue. I said before, to me he's more Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin because they're both blue and they make references to their powers. Then you have Crackhead Harry, who's got the worst design. Like, I remember when Spider-Man 3 came out. Why is Harry wearing a snowboard outfit? Why is he wearing this black outfit with these things on the side? Why is he wearing that? It looks so lame. He's got dress pants and why is he wearing it's like don't ever tell me that Harry's costume in Spider-Man 3 looks bad, but then you sit here and champion that crackhead look that Dane DeHaan had in TASM 2. That thing looks horrible. I remember when I first saw the poster of that design, I was like, "This is real. This is something you guys actually made." And you know what really sucks? If they just had him in a green costume, it could be just a green armored cut. Well, first of all, it would, whatever. But like, if it was just a purple and green costume, and they had him, doing like the photos with like the slasher smile and, you know, just the different expressions, right, of showing his face, that would be perfectly fine. Why did they have to make him look drugged out? This one guy said, "Imagine if in TASM 2 they had Norman as the Green Goblin and like Electro is the side villain, and he kills like I think I'd like the movie a little bit more if it didn't have Rhino and like the other subplots it does, and you just cut it down to only having these two villains and Spider-Man and Gwen try to stop him, and then that's how she ends up dying. I'd probably be more favorable of the movie. I know I would have been favorable toward them bringing Defoe back at any point. That's why when people are like, No Way Home was the perfect send off to his version of the character. Like, well, I mean, he kills this reality's Aunt May and like becomes the arch nemesis of this version of Peter, and we're supposed to be okay with never seeing him again. That's never going to get resolved and have like a final battle between the two of them, and maybe like in 6 years or something, or like I don't know. It just seems like weird. Like this guy comes from another dimension, he kills your aunt, and then he just vanishes forever. Like, what I mean? Like, really? That's the. But I forgot that people hate when you see a villain more than once. They'll see Holland play Spider Man in like 15 movies, but if they see Defoe play Green Goblin in the major role 3 times, they're gonna like lose their mind. Hell, if they put Defoe with, because I remember the director for Morbius said that he wants Green Goblin, like Norman Osborn, to cross over with Morbius. If they put him in like a second movie and give him like a starring role, I would watch that. That's how much I like Defoe's portrayal of the character. Um, but I don't get MCU fans drive me nuts. They're always opposed to something. That dude looked like he was on 4 different neurotics, and that design was god awful. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. People, but I told you, this came out after people trashed both the Green Goblin costume from the first movie. Oh, it looks like a Power Ranger outfit, and Harry's new Goblin outfit, the black, which I really liked. Oh, he looks like he's snowboarding. So you don't like the looks that have mask, right? But then you like this crackhead look, really? That's what I said, man. You just people don't. I don't understand them at all. By the way, if the Raimi film did use the original, the elf look, all people would say is it's Spider-Man versus Grinch. They would be saying that all day long. So they were just damned if they did, damned if they didn't. It's weird too because it feels like people always look for a reason to have a problem with villain designs. Like I remember with Venom, they were like, he doesn't stick his tongue out and he's too skinny. It's like, guys, the problem I have with Venom is that it's a very rushed version of the character, but it's got decent build up with Eddie like in his multiple scenes in the movie. But when you get to the final fight, it's like, well, you're gonna get rid of him after one night, one battle. I really think they would have been better off if they just saved Venom for a fourth movie. Imagine if the third movie ends with him, getting the suit on, and then the fourth one is him just stalking Peter like everywhere and having him on edge. That'd be so cool. Dude, they don't like characterization. We're just here to see two grown men beat each other up. You'd be surprised how many people like stuff for really superficial crap. Like, I like Dragon Ball because of the fights. It's like, yeah, you could get that anywhere else. Because again, a lot of my favorite scenes in the Raimi trilogy are just when he's out of costume and having bad stuff happen to him. Because we know from the comics that Norman and Green Goblin are two different personalities. One of my favorite parts about the first film was that Defoe has naturally crooked teeth, which I'm not saying that to make fun of him. A lot of people do. And what he does is when he plays Norman, he has these false straight teeth, right? And then when he plays Green Goblin, he uses his naturally crooked ones to like distinguish to make his like Green Goblin look even more evil and to help distinguish them even more. I remember when I read the plot summary for TASM 2 the first time, I was like, "This is actually something grown men got paid to write." Like, I was thinking to myself, like, "There's no way they're gonna have Rhino in this movie and only give him 2 scenes. One at the start where he's robbing somewhere, and then the second one at all the way at the end in a fight we don't even see the conclusion to." It's like they introduce Harry, who's such a great friend of Peter that he wasn't mentioned at all in the first movie, and then they have him become the Goblin in the same film. I guess somebody was like, they were just trying to recycle the Raimi stories. Like, well, I mean, you can have a version of Harry that's just a normal guy. That's just Peter's best friend. He doesn't have to be the Goblin. Like it's not the character's fault. You wanted to rush him into that. Poor Dane DeHaan. He got stuck in a thankless role where they had him look like a damn gremlin. My favorite thing about like these different film pitches that people have is that they say they want a story and they haven't even read it. It's like for the Craven movie, so many people are saying, "Do Craven's Last Hunt, do Craven's Last Hunt." It's like in a movie that apparently is not going to even include Spider-Man. How the hell are they supposed to do a Spider-Man story with Craven in it? Just like no attempt to even sound remotely like they're actually thinking about how this stuff can work. Do Craven's Last Hunt, do Craven's Last Hunt, do Craven's Last Hunt. How? Bring Andrew and Toby back for Secret Wars. It's like, so in the Secret War, we're gonna have 3 Spider-Man running around. Like I said, I'm just tired of living in the cameo era. Everybody gets so excited about seeing someone in the movie for 5 seconds. Like, instead of having Maguire just show up over and over in, whether it be Doctor Strange 2 or Secret War or whatever other stupid Madam Web, and it's like, why can't we just get a Raimi Spider-Man 4? Like, why do I have to sit here and see all these damn cameos? Seriously, like, why can't we just get one more film from him? I don't understand. So if we don't get that movie or TASM 3, Sony is showing how stupid they are because they'll sit here and make films about I'm not going to say Venom, but like about Morbius and Craven, and maybe get like $100 million, and then pass up making a film with either of those two leads as Spider-Man again, and easily get hundreds and hundreds of millions, if not a billion, from both. Sony shows that they are complete clowns. I'm telling you, if we don't get those two movies, I'm gonna we can just put a damn red nose on the Sony logo from now until the end of time. And it's like, look at the things they're making. Like, I've never seen anybody say they want a Craven movie, like just a solo. I've never seen it. I do know people who wanted Craven to fight Spider-Man in each of these different film series that never came to pass. But just like, oh man, I gotta get me some solo. No, never. Please give me a Craven movie. It just seems so lame, man. Like out of all the characters, like I said, they just squander opportunities. Like there's so much potential you could get out of both of those films, and it's just like, the idea that we're not going to get those, and then the other stuff we're getting. It's really sad. It's like, this is what you guys picked. Sony picking doing Craven over TASM 3 is like saying, hey, uh, oh, you're offering me to live in a mansion. I'd rather go live in a cardboard box. Like they are cheating themselves out of so much money. You would think they were on a suicide mission. And again, I am making jokes about this, but it is really sad that they're. I don't even know what their universe is supposed to be. It just seems like a bunch of random stuff happening. It's like, oh look, Venom gets the symbiote and he fights a gray version of himself called Riot, and then sometime after that he fights this guy, right, Carnage, who, because we're idiots, we're gonna kill off after one movie. Very intelligent. Then there's this vampire guy that fights another vampire guy. Yay! Like, how are these connected? I don't know. No, these cinematic universes, other than the MCU, they always fail. Just like I remember when the Mummy came out with Tom Cruise, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." They have this plan to do these Universal monsters, and they have the little Easter eggs. They got the creature from the Black Lagoon's arm in the jars. This is kind of exciting. I'd like to see this. And then the movie came out. It didn't do anywhere as well as they thought it would, and they canceled their. And I was sad because I wanted to see a creature from the Black Lagoon remake. Like some modern attempt at doing that, and we didn't get it. That was when I was most excited for. Now, if I want to make that movie, I got to make it myself because I do like the Universal monsters. I think that if someone actually comes around and tries to like plan stuff out, they could do a universe about that. But the problem is when you try to make something with like a work that can't stand on its own with the purpose of, oh, people are just going to automatically go and see this, we're going to be able to make five more of these. That's when you set yourself up for failure, because they did think the Mummy would be this overnight hit, and it wasn't. And they screwed themselves over. It was really sad. But I'm just saying, it seems like every attempt at a cinematic universe that's not Marvel, or more specifically, it's not the MCU, just falls. Like I've seen like five of them collapse. Because I remember that the what do you call it, Tasm was supposed to be a cinematic universe. We're supposed to have Tasm 3, 4, Sinister 6, Black Cat, and that didn't go through. Um, and now I think the Sony, Spider-Man universe is dying too, because I don't think they know what they want to do, and there doesn't really seem to be any specific like you've got two Venom movies that people are very mixed on, and a Morbius movie that everybody hates. So like I don't know what direction they're even trying to go with this stuff. Like you'll do a Craven movie and then you'll do Venom 3 and then what? I'll tell you, it really does feel like when they pick who gets a movie, they just have like a bunch of names in a box for like, we have the copyright license to this character and this character and this character. And then they play spin the bottle where they to go figure out who's getting the movie next. Like, who the hell wants a Madam Web movie? I've never seen anybody say they wanted that. This is a dead universe, dead in the water. I was doing one stream where I said that the Sony Spider-Man universe is like the equivalent of a sinking ship. They're just sinking and sinking. It's like, no, we'll make this, and then we'll make that, and then we'll make this. Damn, Sony is filled with some clowns. Like I don't like. Oh, let's do Sinister Six with a bunch of villains that haven't even met the person that they usually are opposed to. Yeah, and then it's like, good luck trying to figure out who the lineup is. Because, like I said, if they do Sinister Six and neither Molina or Defoe are in that, I'm not even gonna bother. I just think doing Sinister Six without Doc Ock is weird. Like, and they're so stupid because all they'd have to do is just pull him from the from Spider-Man 2 again, right? Um, and this time just have him stay evil, or they could have him, be pulled from No Way Home and have it to where he's the one good teammate. He's the one that's actually like moderating this group a bit. It's just it's what I said. It's so stupid. That was funny that people were calling No Way Home Spider-Man Endgame. I was like, how the hell is this Endgame if the other two supposed main protagonists of this 8 film saga don't even show up until the back hour, like the third act of this? Like what? Damn, people are crazy. Like I don't understand them at all. Mm, they're really nuts. I'm trying to think what's another cinematic universe that didn't work. I think Ghostbusters was trying to do that because they were talking about what's that production company, Ghostbuster Corpse, whatever. Um, get our Ghost Corpse. That was supposed to be another universe, and it didn't work out. You know what? The Green Lantern movie from 2011, the one everybody hates with Ryan Reynolds, that was supposed to be the start of the DCEU, and then they were like, "Nah, forget this. Just let it die in the water." And I remember the guy that played Sinestro, I think his name was Mark Strong. He said that even he mistakenly thought that movie was part of the DCEU. It's like, no, it's not, because if it was, why didn't Green Lantern show up to help Superman with Zod and Feora and the rest of those people, the rest of those Kryptonians? See, that's the problem with the shared universes and superheroes specifically. You always have to make an excuse for why they're not around. No, it just really sucks that these series are like this, where they just keep trying to make, like, they can't just make one good story. They have to sit here and try to have a whole universe. And again, the thing about the first Iron Man that really worked was that it was a movie that was made with the explicit purpose of being a good film, like by itself, to where today you can still watch that movie, and outside of the post-credit scene, there's really nothing that's there to set up any further films at all. Um, and it just sucks that, like, every time they try to do a universe, they can't just make a good movie. Like, a lot of people have problems with the Sonic movie, even though I think it's pretty decent. But at least that was made with the intent purpose of, we'll see if this movie works. If people like it, then we'll do another one. And if it doesn't work, then there will be no more. And then the second one, if this works, we'll do another one. And then they announced a third one and a Knuckles spin-off series. So, they're actually trying to create a universe as well, but they still are actively attempting to make a good movie first. It's just sad. So Sonic is gonna have a higher chance of having a successful, um, I guess, movie franchise, shared universe series, whatever term when you describe it, than these other. Because I always say that it's a shared universe when you start having titles that aren't part of the main series, like, you know, just as a concurrent thing that's also going on. So to me, X-Men didn't become a shared universe until they did, Origins Wolverine, and like other stuff, like, and even then you could debate if that, I don't know if I would really call it, because it's all still under the X-Men branding, but I guess maybe I'll say it's a shared universe. I don't know, it feels like most of that is just prequels and sequels, like there's not really any spin-offs. So I still think to this day the only shared universe that worked and succeeded and did well was the MCU, which a lot of people are saying is on its last legs at this point. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm still gonna go see Doctor Strange too. No, people just always have a way of these studio executives are very ambitious. I have to give them credit for that, but at the same time, that ambition causes them to make choices that are not that wise. As far as they do things that are not smart. Um, like, hey, let's just create this movie, and we'll sit here and hope that it does well, so that we can make five other ones. Like, these shared universes are just they need to start getting rid of some of those. Because the other problem is I don't really like the idea that to watch one movie I have to know the events of like three or four other ones. Like if you want to watch Captain America, I guess that's kind of standalone. But then when you watch Captain America 2, you have to watch Avengers to know how he knows about the team or whatever and where they are, and then you have to watch. If it's like it's just there's a lot of other stuff like with Civil War. You have to watch Age of Ultron to know about like, the final battle and the stuff that did to Zemo. It's like wow, that trilogy turned into like a 6 or 7 movie saga really quick. And the worst part is having to watch him in Infinity War where he doesn't even do anything. She says, I have to go soon, so we'll find some other day. Totally fine with that. So now you've seen in real time how uninterested I am in speaking to her. Because like I said, it goes nowhere. Like you talk to this person and you have a call with them, and then in like 2, 3, 4 weeks, they don't say anything back to you. And just I just get tired of like stuff never progressing at all. Like imagine having to wait 5 months for a phone call. This is nuts to me. Also, she told me yesterday that she would be available at 1 p.m. my time, which it's not 1 p.m. yet at all. So she either got my time zone mixed up or so. I don't care. It's just another person on the internet that feigns interest in speaking to you, but they're not really that interested. Because if they were, they would not ignore you because they feel depressed and they want to self isolate. You know, total BS. Like I said, I've been disillusioned, despondent, all the negative emotions you could think of when it comes to just feeling a certain way about things. And I've never tried to take my I guess way of feeling out on others. So I don't feel bad at all. Because the problem is if you send her a message and say, hey, look, I don't want to talk to you, then you're not gonna get like okay, I guess we can try at some other point. It's gonna be like, but you know, um, I thought we were having a decent time talk just like you know what I'm saying? They just can't just let it go. Like they're gonna sit there and have a debate with you over this. And let's get back to what I was saying. I think with like, Venom is kind of a little bit different because he's a property that could work well as like its own series. But the issue I have is that if you have a version of character that's attached from Spider-Man, it's fundamentally broken because so much of what made him interesting was that he was someone who felt Spider-Man wronged him, along with this parasite that felt Spider-Man wronged him. They come together and they gradually come to care more and more about each other, which causes them to be together when they do these other things. You know what I'm saying? That like when you don't have that starting foundation, it just doesn't work as well. I know everybody loves Tom Hardy and oh he was so fun. It was like, I just think that there's something wrong when you don't have the person that brings them together. Um, it's kind of like if you did a Spider-Man movie and you want to tell the origin story, but then you don't, instead of Uncle Ben being the one that gets killed, you have like a trained crash into a wall because he doesn't go over there to save people. Like it just it's not the same, you know? Because a lot of Venom's appeal is his backstory. It's what caused him to be, invented as just a thing that is there to constantly be a thorn in the side of when he's evil, Spider-Man, and when he's not evil, these different, more villainous people. I'm still mad that they didn't have Carnage as the villain for the first ones. Like, hey, remember that one symbiote that has been around since the '90s and is like very iconic and without a doubt is the most iconic symbiote besides Venom? Instead of using him as the film's antagonist, let's have a random gray symbiote be the villain. I don't know. I've always wanted to see Spider-Man versus Carnage in a movie because I like the idea. Like I really would love to see Venom and Spider-Man team up against him like they do in different other media. And I guess we're just never gonna see that because of Sony holding the rights to the symbiotes, or at least to the ones that, as far as I'm aware, to the ones that we've heard or seen. I'm real excited to see them do Venom 3 with Noel and just have him just be the most goofy thing ever. It kind of sucks too because Noel is a relatively new character that is like tied to the backstory of symbiotes. Um, with being the creator and all. And I just don't think they're going to do him in a way that works. Like I remember somebody made a video, it was like, "Oh, Noel's gonna be the Thanos of the Sony Spider-Man universe." Like, okay, but who is he going to fight? Venom and more BS? Like, what like you even had the director of Morbius say that Spider-Man exists in this universe. So is he not going to show up when symbiotes are invading the planet? Or it's like what oh man. Hey, they're gonna do him like Hawkeye Infinity War where he's on house arrest. I got caught webbing my neighbor's house. I guess I'm gonna have to sit out this fight. So the Spider-Man and the Sony versus the worst superhero ever. That'd be funny because people are like, "Oh, I hope it's Andrew." It's like, yeah, I hope so too. So they can show you how awful of a superhero he is. Like he just sits on it. And again, it's the writers that make these choices. Like he just sits on his behind while Venom is fighting to save the planet from this other symbiote. And then when Carnage is killing people, Spider-Man's just sitting on his backside, letting Venom take care of everything. It's like, oh my god. By the way, I'm still laughing at the people that are reviewing this stuff, and they're like, "Why do we keep getting villains with the same how powers as the heroes?" Like, yeah, that's what the Sonyverse is. So, like in Craven, don't be surprised if the villain for that is somebody that has like the animal motif, and I wouldn't be shocked at all. That was funny when people were like, Morbius had to make a villain for its hero. It's like, well, the thing is, I don't really have a problem with them if they want to try to make a new character that's evil or good, whatever. I don't have an issue with that because if we didn't let adaptations make new characters, we wouldn't have Harley Quinn, for example. Um, so we wouldn't have X-23. Definitely wouldn't have Terry McGinnis. So I don't have an issue with them doing that. Like I said, I think that that film has a lot of other issues besides having a villain that they made up on the spot. No, the Sonyverse is a really sad, miserable mockery of a shared universe. it just seems so directionless. Like it's just they have a bunch of names and they're trying to figure out who do we do a movie on next. It's like, man, I can't wait to get Venom 3 with some other villain that they're gonna because you know what they're gonna do if they have Null, they're gonna kill him off after one movie because they always do that. See if they were actually cool, we could get like real build up, like maybe during Craven there's a symbiote that's watching, right? Whatever's going on over there, and then you get like Null commenting on it. That's the only way he could work as this overall because film series always fail with overarching antagonists other than maybe Star Wars because they and I guess I've heard good things about Voldemort as well because they can't tell how much agency and how much involved they want the again overarching villain to actually be in the story. And they think that by giving them very few appearances, they're doing something good. Like one of the reasons I prefer um like with Harry and Spider-Man 3, one of the reasons I really like that version of the character is because of how much buildup he receives compared to most other antagonists. And if he wasn't on screen for most of the first film and the second film and was just being mentioned over and over, and you see like a little brief glimpse of him, it wouldn't be the same effect. Um, if you got a hypothetical Venom 3 where they have Noel in it, right? Like has multiple scenes, but he doesn't interact with Venom. He's just like guiding symbiotes to do his evil deeds or whatever. And then they do Venom 4 or 5, and that's when he finally encounters Venom and fights him, and they have the like climactic showdown. That would feel a lot more built up to because we've not only been hearing about him over and over, we've been seeing him, like pulling strings in the background. So their fight feels more cathartic. I don't know. I just really like Noel. I would hate for Sony to butcher the first live action attempt at doing the character, but I think they're going to because they ruin everything they touch. It just sucks because you have this series that wants to do symbiotes as the villain every time, which I don't really have a problem with that because there's so many evil symbiotes, not even funny. But then like what I'm worried about is how like when the way they treated Carnage was pretty crappy. They had him for one movie and then they just got rid of him. Now, what would have been cool is if they kept him alive, but they got rid of his symbiote, and then Noel meets Carnage, or I guess Cletus rather, in jail and gives him another, or has one of the other symbiotes like venture over there and put him at his service. Because then you'd have a returning villain with like a new premise, with the new villain who's like who you're building up to. See, that would actually make the Venom series kind of interesting in a way. And they're not gonna they're gonna keep treating every installment like it's villain of the week. Like you might as well be watching a Saturday morning cartoon with their lack of continuity. It's like, oh look, here's this new villain, and they're of the same species as the other one, but they never met each other because to hell with continuity, to hell with like I said, I'm tired of the superhero films and their one movie villains. It's really annoying. But I guess it makes sense. They always feel like they have to do something climactic. We can't just have the villain go to jail and then give ourselves the opportunity to use them again later if we find an interesting thing to do with them. No, we gotta kill them off. I don't know. After a while, it just starts getting really redundant. Yeah, I'm almost done. I'll send that message when we got like 10 more minutes at least. Um, I don't know. I always feel so disappointed because maybe it's easy for me to think of things the way I do because I don't get paid to do this. Like I don't have a financial incentive. But seriously, like I think that if you had more people that actually wanted to tell a good story than just try to set up a bunch of sequels, and so they can theoretically make more money, you'd see a lot more favorable of a result than what we get, which is just really sad, man. Like, yeah, not even that big of a TASM fan, but I believe Mark Webb was trying to do a good story, and then when he did the second one, studio interference got in the way and turned it into a train wreck. It just really sucks that things are the way they are with regards to these studios. They just have no creativity. They're all about making money and not making a good story. Like that's like a second dairy thing to them. It's really disappointing. Oh no, I've just been on like a real trajectory of disliking Sony for like the last several years. Just because you look at the stuff they make, you see the budgets that are used, you see and you see the actors that like Tom Hardy's a good actor, and you're giving him this second hand garbage. Like it just really sucks that we can't just get a some decent material, because if you want to do a Venom movie without Spider-Man, you could just have him be Venom already. Like you could just have him say, "Hey, we met each other because we hated someone," right? Vaguely mention them if you can. Because not correctly, he doesn't actually put on the Venom, I guess, look rather the symbiote until like 50 minutes into the first movie. I was like, what the hell? That's a pretty lengthy amount of time to like finally see I guess the supposed hero in their costume for a superhero movie. I'd say it's usually like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But you guys took a little too long for my taste. I guess all that CGI was expensive. Yeah, Venom 3 is going to be a weird film. I don't even know what they're going to do. I'm just telling you what I think they should do. Everybody wants this crossover between him and Holland, but I don't really care. Even with him and Garfield, it's like, we're gonna have Venom fight a person who he's never met before, but in the comics he has animosity toward because he spurned both of them, both the symbiote and Eddie. Like it just doesn't work. You don't. It's not properly set up. The good old cinematic universes where good storytelling goes to die. That's a really good example, though, that with these like filmmakers, like that's how Batman and Robin happened, where they wanted to sell a bunch of toys and they said the hell with the story, and they forced Schumacher into a corner, and that was also apparently intended to be another, if not a cinematic universe, an expansion. Like it was, you were gonna have Batman triumphant, and apparently a Robin spinoff. They were trying to set that up too, and it all came crashing down, tumbling, and was decimated by the decision to turn that fourth movie into a toy commercial and have a bunch of stuff that was just there to get people to buy some merchandise. That's why I really hope that if Reeves does a sequel, which he says he will, they use Mr. Freeze, because I just want one movie that actually has a decent version of that character. Sad thing is if they want to bring back Arnold, I wouldn't even be mad. Like if they gave him good material and like didn't do any ice puns, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Of course they won't because remember when we do reboots, we can never bring back an actor to play a character they did well, except in very rare cases. They're so lucky that that I'm not them because if I wanted to use Scarecrow, I'd bring back Cillian Murphy because I really did like him as Scarecrow. He was fun. He's in general just a good actor. But I was saying it's really sad that like they always have to recast everyone and everything. Let's start over. Just keep rebooting and relaunching and going back to episode one. That's why it took me so long to see the Batman because I'm like another reboot, three versions of the same damn character in 10 years on the big screen. That's supposed to excite me. Like I said, I think that if they do a sequel and they have Robin, I'll be a lot more excited. But don't count your blessings. My brother still refuses to see that movie. He says too dark. He wants something fun and colorful. I saw a little bit of it with him on Sunday. I turned it off because it's just too long, man. Like because when he's over here, I tried to get him to see some other stuff, and I couldn't watch the other things I was watching with that movie. And like I said, it's pretty decently paced up until you get to the part where Riddler gets captured, because at that point it just starts dragging and dragging. Like, can we continue, guys, please? I still maintain Paul Dano is the best part of that movie. I thought that version of Riddler was pretty cool. I saw people trying to say it was better than Joker from Dark Knight. I laughed, but I still think he's pretty like decent. Like he's good. I think the idea of a serial killer who feels like they're in the right for getting rid of these rich people and who thinks that an orphan child is not the same as one who's orphaned but has a bunch of money and wealth. I find that I thought it was added some interesting layers to his character. I just wish we could have gotten a little bit more interactions between him and Batman because I did like the premise that of him not seeing Batman as an enemy but rather as an ally. Oh no, no, no. Yeah, my brother was laughing at his design. I liked it. I think it definitely is very different than what we've seen from other ones. Because usually Riddler is just a face mask, like a little mask that covers up here. There's a name for that mask. I can't think of it right now. This is not how this was supposed to go. Every time I get a notification on Insta garbage, it's always something stupid. It's never somebody liked your picture. They're saying hello. That's why I said that online interactions to me just feel like a waste of time because it's the same thing with each saga. You always go and talk to this person and try to get to know them, and if it ends, it's because they abruptly stop responding and or for whatever reason. Just I just get tired of it, man. Like that's why with this chick, I don't feel bad about standing her up for my not standing her up because she didn't know what the time zone was over here, and she told me 1 p.m. when contact me at 10 in the morning when I was about to start streaming. But I don't feel bad about standing her up because this is someone who I waited to speak to month after month, and like they couldn't even send a message back. So I don't feel bad at all. I think that, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, because if this person was so interested in talking to me, you wouldn't have had to wait until now to try to have a call with me. But look, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I know it turned into just a dead zone after a while. I'll be streaming again on Saturday, most definitely, but possibly Thursday. Don't count your blessings. Um, Thanks for showing up, Akatsuki Merchant, and have a good day.